I'm Joe Zagacki, voice of the Miami Hurricanes for football, basketball, and baseball on the radio, and I'll be your host on this very special day. Today we embark on a new era of University of Miami baseball. It's a program with a glorious history and a very exciting future. Just as we did a quarter century ago, today we gather to pass the torch. The Hurricanes' new skipper, Gino DiMare, played for the Wizard of college baseball, Ron Frazier, between 1989 and 1992. Gino led the Kings in hitting in 1991. For 19 years, he coached alongside Jim Morse. There isn't a better pedigree in college baseball than Gino DiMare. Gino understands the history, the tradition, the brotherhood of University of Miami baseball. He also is very well aware the U family is what separates the Hurricanes from everyone else. And today is a great example of the U family. We are pleased to welcome two of Coach Frazier's daughters, Cynthia and Liz. Two dozen baseball alumni who played for Coach Frazier before Gino, played here with Gino, and played for Gino as an assistant coach to Jim Morse, including Major League Baseball All-Star Alex Fernandez, who taught us the University of Miami no-hitter. Charles Johnson, whose Hurricanes number 23 is retired. From 1992, the World Series MVP, Danny Smith. Coach Jim Morse has a prior commitment, but he did send this message. He said, 25 years ago, at my head coach press announcement, Coach Frazier put his arm around my shoulder and said, "This is my guy." Today, we're here to celebrate Gino DiMare as the next head coach. He is the hardest working person I've had the pleasure to work with. His dedication to the University of Miami and knowledge of baseball is unmeasurable. Due to a medical procedure, I regret that I can't be up there with Gino and have my arm around his shoulder. This is my guy. Thank you, Coach Morse. From the University of Miami, we have Board of Trustee members Ron Stone and Alex Vicencio, Senior Vice President for Public Affairs and Communications and Chief of Staff to President Julio Frank, Rudy Fernandez, Vice President for Student Affairs, Pat Whiteley, Dean of College of Arts and Sciences, Leo Bacchus, Dean of the Division of Continuing and International Education, Rebecca Fox, Ambassador Sue Ka. Lastly, but hardly least, one of the University of Miami's biggest fans and head of the remarkable family that has made our Carol Sofer football indoor facility a reality, Carol Sofer. From athletics, Director of Athletics, Blake James, joined by his senior staff. We also have with us head football coach Mark Richt, who would have been a perfect player for Coach Frazier, had he not played for another legend, Coach Snellenberger. I see third baseman. We are joined by three of our finest football players ever. 1992 Heisman Trophy winner Gino Torretta, plus all-time greats Alonzo Highsmith and Greg Mark. Also here with us from UHealth is Dr. Lee Kaplan. Plus, we have dozens of DiMare family and friends, Hurricane baseball season ticket holders, and many Hurricane fans. This is one more example of the U family. Coach Frazier, he would be proud. We have a full room. We expanded it several times to accommodate everyone who wanted to be here. And Coach Frazier would announce the attendance as a standing room only 793. Across the street sits Alex Rodriguez Park and Mark Lake Field. It's where Coach Frazier and Coach Morse created magic. The Light is one of the crown jewels of South Florida. Every spring, it's been our sanctuary. Friendly for fans and families, not so much for foes. The original Miami Maniac, John Ruth, who along with his successors helped make the Light the finest ballpark atmosphere in America. It's also impossible to claim just one magic moment. For 50 years, J-Ro Keach, the best stadium public address announcer in college baseball, has been the soundtrack of those euphoric moments. From the first night triple play against Florida State, to perfect games, no-hitters, 23 strikeouts by Neil Heaton, we've had walk-off homers and Omaha-bound championship celebrations. And speaking of Omaha, the Hurricanes have the greatest play in the history of college baseball, the 1982 Grand Illusion. 85 was the happiest team in America. The 99 team partied like it was 1999, beating Florida State, and did it again in Omaha in 2001. For 55 years, Hurricanes baseball has been guided by Ron Frazier and Jim Morris. Gino DiMare is linked through those 55 years by playing and coaching, touched by the brotherhood, and now Gino becomes the caretaker. It's Gino's turn to bring his own brand of magic, and we'll be there to support him. Thank you for joining us, and before we continue with our program, let's enjoy a great lunch where we can reminisce about Hurricanes baseball and look forward to more great Canes baseball. Thank you. I hope during lunch you had a chance perhaps maybe to reminisce on some of the great moments of University of Miami history. It comes to mind that 19 years ago today, the Hurricanes defeated Florida State for the national championship in Omaha, Nebraska. University of Miami Athletic Director Blake James has a keen eye for what is right for the University of Miami and for college athletics. He is the chair of the NCAA Division I Council in both of his roles as athletic director and with the NCAA. Each day, Blake is changing and making history. Under Blake James, here at the University of Miami, we have the Schwartz Center for Athletics and Academics, a new training room and meal center for athletes, the soon-to-be completed, very much needed Carol Sofer indoor practice facility. Blake is not going to stop there. He has more plans, home run hitting plans. The University of Miami under Blake James are building champions. This year, both the men's and women's basketball teams went to the NCAA tournament. Women's tennis to the Sweet 16. Women's volleyball to the NCAA tournament. Women's track won the ACC Outdoor Championship. Amy Dean was named ACC Track Coach of the Year. And football returned to the Orange Bowl game for the first time since 2004. The University of Miami is #1 in the nation in athletics community service and #13 in graduation success rate. When this chapter of the Hurricane story is completed, it will be written that Blake James is the all-time best. And today is the perfect day to say, Blake James always keeps his eye on the ball. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome University of Miami Athletic Director Blake
James. Welcome. Thank you, Joe, for that great introduction. If you're on staff, I'd say you do for a raise, but since we don't pay you, I guess I'll just say thank you. Now, in all seriousness, welcome to all of you here. Obviously, it's an exciting day for us. As Joe touched on, all of our programs are very important. It's important that we achieve at the highest level. I think baseball has a special spot in not only everyone in this room's heart, but in this community's heart. I think Miami baseball is one of those special programs. When I go across the country, my job, and Joe touched on whether it's chairing the NCAA or just being out representing all of you, Miami baseball is one that continues to be a topic of conversation, and people always asking me how is it going or telling a story about something they remember. It's something that's important, something that will always be a priority for us here, and I'm excited with the leadership that we'll have taking over. They touched on 55 years between Coach Frazier and Coach Morris. As a guy who's 49 now, Gino, you can get like half of that. I'm going to be in retirement, and you and I will have a great time together. So very excited to have this day here for us. Before we get started, I do want to thank a few people, and I'm not going to go back through it. I think Joe did a good job of touching on things, but I did recognize Chuck Cobb from our Board of Trustees was also able to join us. So Chuck, thank you for being here. I also want to thank all of our partners on campus, again, for the great support that they get. I think everyone knows, and again, Gino's not new to this, he's been here longer than I have. None of our programs are successful without the great partnerships, and so whether it's the deans on the education front to the administration and everything else we need to do. Joe touched on a number of the facility things that we have to do as a program, and those are things that are very important to us. Obviously, we've mentioned Carol and her great generosity on something that was really needed for football. In the very near future, we're going to announce something that's very needed for baseball, and I'm pleased to say that we've gotten the funding in place. We're going to have an indoor hitting facility for baseball, because just as we need to have that for our football program, for our guys when the lightning goes, we need to have it for our baseball program. As technology gets better and better, to have the facilities you need to compete to be the very best. So all of us are sitting here, not here, sitting in Omaha in a few years. We need to continue to invest in the facilities that we have for our program. One of those big needs is our baseball facility, and that's something I'm pleased to say that our supporters have stepped up to support, and we have the funding in place, and I'll work with our campus and the community to make that project a reality. Before I go any further, I want to thank Denise. Obviously, Denise, you've shared Gino with us for 19 years already, but thank you for your commitment. I want to recognize his daughters, Nicolette, Gianna, Giselle, and Gina, for sharing your dad with us. I know you've done it all your years. I hope as head coach it doesn't mean anymore, but I do know that it does require him to be gone quite a bit, so I do want to thank all of you for recognizing the important role his job plays and the impact it has on your family life, so thank you, and look forward to seeing you all in the park often. Gino is someone that everyone in this room knows very well, and I'm sure looking around from, I think, I'll say the DiMare family, probably most of you know him better than all of us. With that said, it's great to see so many from his family here and so many from the community here. As Joe touched on, he's been assistant with us for 19 years. He's a winner, been a part of two national titles, both in '99 and '01. And you look at what do you want in a head coach. And I got the opportunity to work with some great ones. Joe touched on, on the list, you go down the line of head coaches we have here at the university. The most recent addition before Gino, Mark Richt, obviously Jim Larinaga before that, but Amy Dean, Paige Jershik Toombs. On down the list, we have great coaches. And as athletic director, that's what you want. And the first component there is obviously you want a winner. And when Gino and I first started talking about this opportunity, he's clearly a winner. You want a recruiter. You got to have someone who's getting the best. And when you look at what Gino has done for us as a recruiter, he's brought some of the very best to this university. And that's something that I know under his leadership, he and his staff will continue to do. Because if we want to be in Omaha, which I know Gino does, we're going to need to bring in the very best. And so it's facilities, it's getting out and getting after it. And I know he's going to do that. You want a teacher. You want someone who can take the talent that comes here and develop it to not only do great things here, but to be the very best they can be. And being the very best they can be can mean a variety of things. That could be getting a degree and moving on to do something after they're done at the University of Miami in the professional world. And that professional world could be baseball, or it could be doing something else. But that's what you want in a coach, someone who's going to develop the young men, in this case, in their program. And finally, we talk about family. It's one of our core values as a program, but you want someone to recognize that. You want someone who's a good person. And you look at Gino's immediate family that's here. You look at his extended family that's here. You look at the university and you look at the community. And Gino recognizes, and I think really is a great representative of all of us. And so for me, it was a no-brainer. I remember this, and it's flown by for me. I'm sure Gino would probably say it's been a little more drawn out for him, but it's hard to believe that first conversation to today, as probably was, I guess, over 3 years ago now, and here we are today, and I could not be happier. As I said, he understands our program, he understands our community, he knows the expectations. You don't go to 45 NCAA tournaments and 25 College World Series and not have high expectations for a tournament. I have no doubt in my mind that Gino is going to lead us back to Omaha. He's going to lead us to great things in the classroom, in the community, in everything we do. That's why I'm excited to introduce the 10th head best baseball coach at the University of Miami. Please welcome me to join me.
Yeah, that's perfect. You did?
First of all, let me give the thanks to President Frank and the Board of Trustees for hiring me as the head coach here at the University of Miami baseball team. Blake, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity. It's an honor and it's a privilege to be here as a coach, and I want to thank you for that. I'd like to thank our senior associate AD, Craig Anderson. Craig and I have been going through this for a long time here at this process, and Craig, I appreciate all the support you've given me and the friendship that I feel like I've gotten with you over the last few years. I want to thank Blake's staff. This is unbelievable what you guys have put here together. I spent about 4.5 hours on the road the other day traveling to Tampa, and I think I was on the phone the entire time. And I called a lot of you that are in here today, and I appreciate everybody showing up. But the staff that put this together, and a special shout out to Rick Remmer and Jesse Marks and Chris Coleman. You guys certainly knocked it out of the park today, and I really, really appreciate it. I'd like to thank my immediate staff that's here. If you will, could you please stand, the staff members, my staff members that are here? Probably recognize it's a lot of the same staff, which of course we are a family and we're not going to change that. We are looking for one coach, which is something I know after today I'm going to be really working hard to get, because I know how important that's going to be for our team and our future. But I thank you guys for everything that you do. You know, I got a lot of family here, as you guys know. My brothers came down, drove down, a lot of them today, and I want to thank them for everything they've done for me. I appreciate you guys' support. They're here with their families today, and I just want to say thank you to you guys. I had quite a bit of a surprise yesterday. I came home and I haven't seen my mom's two sisters, my aunts, in quite a while. They flew down from Boston and they almost gave me a heart attack. They were hiding in the closet. And, my wife played a nice prank on me. She told me that something had happened to my beautiful jacket here. You need to come right away. And of course I came running in there, and sure enough they popped out. I told the story to Blake, and he's looking at me like, that's great to hear, you're gonna have a heart attack. But I want to thank Aunt Candy and Aunt Marilyn for being here today. It means a lot. I really appreciate it. You know, their sister, my mom, she passed away about 7 years ago to ALS, but she was the one who told me this was where I should be. She basically, you know, encouraged me to get into coaching. She didn't want me to get into family business. She didn't think that was the right thing for me. And she's one that certainly I look back on and think that she probably gave me as much support as anybody in where I'm at today. And I want to thank my mom. Stepmom Swanee's here today, and Swanee, of course, surprised me coming in today, and I, of course, almost had another heart attack, but she's here to support me, along with my dad, who's not here. My dad is, of course, everybody knows, very big supporter of the university, and I mean the entire university. It'd probably be easier to say what he doesn't support than what he does. But if you ask him where it first started, it was sports. He loves sports. He pushed all his kids into sports. We all grew up in this town, and for me, I think the things that he tried to install in us as kids is, learning what sports teaches, life lessons, which is learning how to deal with failure, learning how to fall down and get up, learn how to compete, learn how to be tough, learn how to be a team guy, and strive to be, basically, he's always said just strive to be the very best. That's all I can ask in you. And it's certainly been ingrained in me as a kid, growing up, and, of course, my dad is a huge part of my life, and I just want to say thank you. Good, I get through all that. Now I can cruise. We got a lot of guys here today that, a lot of former baseball players. I'm not sure how many, but I'm going to kind of get a better idea. I'd like for you guys to stand up and be recognized, all the baseball alumni. Of course, I'm not going to blow this. I almost did. I got to thank, of course, Blake. It was very nice what you said about my family. It's true. It's very hard as a coach. You miss a lot of things as a dad. You miss a lot of recitals. You miss a lot of plays. You miss a lot of school functions. My kids are in gymnastics. They're into piano, dance. You name it, they're in it. My wife is juggling them around all the time, and they got to understand and have the support. For me, and I just got to tell you, I'm very lucky. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I really am. And I want to thank my wife, Denise, and my kids. My daughter just turned 13 yesterday, so my oldest is a teenager now, so I'm in trouble from where I am. My daughter Nicolette just turned 13 yesterday. So, moving forward, I got to thank three coaches that were an important part of my life growing up. First, it's got to be my high school coach, Rich Hoffman, who's here today. Coach, thank you very much for everything. Coach Hoffman gave me my first job. I played for Coach, graduated in 1988. Of course, played here and then went on to play for a few years in the Red Sox organization. Like a lot of guys, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Wasn't quite sure. Obviously, family business was there. Fortunate for that. But Coach had asked me, and he kind of knew. He knew before I even knew. He said, I think you should come out and help the guys. And so I did. In 1996, I went out, and I don't think it was probably within the first day I realized this was my calling. This is what I want to do. I had a passion for it. And of course, that team went on to go undefeated and won the national championships. Coach, I really thank you for everything. It's hard to stand here and obviously not recognize two coaches that we've heard a lot about today that had a huge impact. And all these three coaches are all Hall of Fame coaches, and the biggest reasons why I'm here. But starting with Coach Frazier, who gave me an opportunity to play here in 1989. Coach Frazier, we know his story. He's the godfather of this program. As a kid growing up, there was Don Shula and there was Ron Frazier. That was it. And that's how he was to me growing up as a kid here. And, he gave me an opportunity to play here. And of course, we know what he turned the program into. This was a national powerhouse for the 30 years he was here. And I just want to say thank you. I know his daughter's here, but I just want to say thanks to Coach Frazier for all he did for me. Coach Morris, who I did see yesterday, he met with me in the office, and unfortunately he couldn't be here, and he really did want to be here, but he gave me an opportunity to coach here in 1997. And of course, I've been here a long time and been here for most of his career. And I'd say it's safe to say that he carried the torch from Coach Frazier, and he carried it at a very, very proud level. And we should all be very proud of that. But he coached for 25 years, and I'll be certainly thankful to him indebted to him for the rest of my career for giving me that opportunity. So I want to thank Coach Morris. It's amazing. I know Blake touched on it. You had two coaches here back to back basically for 55 years. To do what those guys have done, I don't know any program that's been as successful as ours with 2 Hall of Fame coaches coaching that long. And I've been very, very fortunate to be behind not only those 2 guys, but Coach Hoffman as well, 3 Hall of Fame coaches. So I just want to say thank you to all you guys. Like I said, I grew up here. I was born right down the street, South Miami Hospital. So you can say I've been indoctrinated to the University of Miami at an early age, bleeding orange and green. I remember going to the Orange Bowl games as a little kid, watching the Canes and the Dolphins. And of course, I remember going downtown and watching the basketball team play at the Hyatt. Y'all can remember that for a short period of time. There's no doubt my fondest memories are right across the street. The light, there's nothing like it. And I'm very close with A-Rod, but I still gotta call it the light because I'm an old school guy. You know, the atmosphere that Coach Frazier created, with J-Ro on the mic, his voice, what he said and how he said it, there's nothing like it. And even to this day, when Jay doesn't do a game, you can feel it in the ballpark. And I don't know, Jay, but whatever I got to do to make sure you don't miss any games, I'm going to make sure I do that. Because I feel it. 15 minutes before every game, you start with the announcements of the lineups. And if I don't hear your voice, I'm not very happy, I'll tell you that. Because I know your voice is helping us and create the atmosphere we want to be successful. And it carries over to our players too, believe me when I tell you. And as a fan, which I do both. So Jay, I just want to say thank you for all that you've done. I look forward to the future with you. It's also John Ruth. John was the best. If anybody ever came to any games, John Ruth, the Miami Maniac, the original Miami Maniac, was the best. There was nobody better. You know, as a player, as a fan first, John, I can tell you, I couldn't wait to come back to the ballpark to see what you do next. You always push the envelope, maybe cross it a little bit. That was okay to me as a fan, and certainly was okay to me as a player. Because I got to tell you, there's a player in here that wouldn't tell you they loved everything you did for the program and how you created such great atmosphere along with J-Ro. And it's something I want to try to bring back to our ballpark, because I think it's safe to say we've lost a little of that atmosphere in our ballpark, and I want to do everything I can to bring it back. And of course, we need a win. Most important ingredients, we need a win to get that atmosphere back. But along with those other things, I think we can do that. Yeah, I look back to the day that I committed to the University of Miami. I'm sure every guy in here that played at Miami can remember that day. The day that they found out they're getting an offer to play baseball here. I was at Westminster. It was late. It was in May. Back then there was only one signing period. And there's a lot of pressure. You know, nowadays kids commit early. They know what they're doing early, which is really not good for our sport, to be honest with you. But it put pressure on you to play well, because you're going to graduate in a month or two, and you know you had to play well to get that offer. And I hadn't gotten an offer from Miami. I had a couple offers on the table, but not the one I wanted. And I remember my dad coming up to me, it was after practice, and he told me that Coach Frazier and him talked, and that Coach Frazier wanted me to come over to the ballpark tonight. They had a game. Before the game, come to his office, and he was going to make me an offer. Unbelievable feeling, as you can imagine as a kid growing up. But I was kind of torn, because I had an official visit lined up the next day to fly to LSU to meet with Skip Burton, a former great Cane. And we know how convincing Skip Burton can be. So I said to my dad, it's great, but what do I do? I got a trip that less than 24 hours, I'm supposed to fly to LSU to meet with Coach Burton. And he said, don't worry about it. You ain't going to LSU. You're going to go to Miami and sign at the University of Miami. And that's a true story. Coach Frazier knew exactly what he was doing. That was Coach Frazier at his best. He knew I had an official visit, and he knew I had a flight out the next day, and he did everything he could to make sure I wasn't getting on that plane. And Coach Frazier was the best at that. You know, I was 18 years old when I committed, and I was excited, very excited, that I was going to be playing at my dream school. And remember, you got to remember, we didn't have the Marlins back then. You know, you grew up on the Dolphins and the Canes, that was it. And the Canes were everything to me. So I'm 18 years old and I commit, and I sign that day. Little did I realize what effect that had on me in the rest of my career, my professional career. They didn't have any clue. And of course, now I have a great idea what it meant. Coach Morris has said many times to me, and to me it's all us coaches, JD knows this too, it's part why JD and I are here, he likes hiring Miami guys. And there's no doubt there's nothing better I could put on my resume than I'm a Miami guy. And so I know when I met with Coach, that was the thing that he liked the most, is that I understood the Miami way. And there is a certain way. There's a certain way we know in the football program. There's a certain way in the baseball program and the other sports too. You know the history with both those sports. And so, to me, being a Hurricane, you know, it means you have pride. You got to be willing to pay a certain price. You have to have desire and determination to be the very best. And a Hurricane player has to play with confidence. I think football calls it swagger. We got a different name for it in baseball, but I'm not going to use that name here right now. But every player in this room knows exactly what I'm talking about. And you know, as we look back on the history of our program, we could argue it's one of the greatest programs. We can't argue. It's one of the greatest programs in the history of college baseball. We've been in the World Series 25 times. Only one other school's been more. We've won 4 national championships, and we've gone over the years. But it's been a while. It's been a while. I know it. You know it. We all know it. And yeah, I want to make sure. I want to make sure that we create our own history. That's something that's very important to me. As we look forward to the future, I got a few players that are here today, and I want to introduce them. If you guys, the 6 players that are here, if you guys would stand, please be recognized. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. We got a few players that, you know, that are here. Most of our guys are off playing summer ball right now, but you know, I want to mention Evan McKendry, who was an All-ACC performer for us last year. He ended up finishing 3rd in the conference in strikeouts. And of course, Freddie Zamora, who had a great season he was named Freshman All-ACC as well, just named Freshman All-American, and was the MVP of our team last year. And of course, Daniel Fetterman is also just named Freshman All-American. And one of our players who's not here, Isaac Quinones, was our 3rd Freshman All-American. So, needless to say, we have a talented group of young guys coming back. Our class was ranked 4th in the country last year recruiting, which to me is not the most important thing. The most important thing is how good they are when they leave here, how much they develop, and what's that class rank, which nobody ever ranks, is when they leave as a junior and senior. But we're going to do everything we can to develop these guys. And we got an incoming class that we're very excited about. We only lost 2 players to the draft. And that's never happened in our history. We normally get hit pretty good with the draft here, especially down here in South Florida. And we're going to have 14 incoming new guys, which means we're going to have 27 freshman or sophomore players. So, but they're going to be talented. They're going to be very talented. I'm excited to know that we're getting more and more guys to show up on campus and understand the value of an education and the value of playing at the University of Miami. So I'm very excited about that. I know Blake mentioned the facilities and where we're at with the indoor facility, and that's something we need, just sort of similar to football. We get a lot of lightning that goes off during the day, especially in the fall when we're trying to practice, and we can't do anything. And that indoor facility is going to allow our pitchers and our hitters to be able to work and get the work they needed to continue to develop, because we're probably one of the last schools to be able to have this. And I know it's going to be beautiful, and I appreciate all the hard work, Blake, that you've done to raise the money to get that. But we're not going to stop. We're going to continue to try to do some things. I know one of the things we need to do, our playing surface is about 8, 9 years old, so we like to resurface our field, both grass and dirt. Been talking for a while, being an outfield guy, but we need to pad our walls. We need to pad our walls in the outfield, and we need to pad our walls in the foul lines, and we need to share our history, because we have a lot of great history at Miami, and it needs to be put up out there so people can see and be proud of. And that's something I want to do. And you know, I'm excited, to say the least. I don't even know what words right now for a guy that grew up here in Miami, and I never dreamed this. I dreamed of being a player here. I never dreamed of being a coach. It came up reality 3 years ago with Blake, and again, I thank you for that opportunity. I realize the ultimate responsibility lies with me now, and that's fine. I accept that responsibility. Matter of fact, I embrace it. That's exactly where I want it to be. This program has done some great things over the years, and I'm looking forward to the future and where we can be with this program. Nobody wants to win more than me. Nobody. I promise you all that. I'm committed and driven to making sure we are back as a perennial top program in the country, and I really look forward to leading us there. Thank you again for everybody for coming out today. I really appreciate it. And let's pray for me.
The University of Miami, thank you. For me, thank you as well. And we'll see everybody at the ballpark at the light next spring. Thank you very much.